Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there we go. That was funny. That was funny. I totally just did a huge feedback thing. That's hilarious. All right, hello, 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 hello to the Facebook crowd. Well, the Facebook crowd's coming on in 10 seconds. Hello to the crowd over at YouTube. Hi, guys. How is everyone today? I hope you are all having an absolutely fantastic day. And hello, hello, hello to the Facebook gang. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Let me mute that. And, okay, so that's going live. We're going to be getting started here in about 7 minutes, as you can see. And let's see. Hello, Jordan. Jordan, why are you calling me David? Hi, David. David? Really, David? You my mom? Let's see here. All right. Just getting a few things lined up here to get our show started. And let's see. I'll go ahead and start the recording just to make sure everything is good. All right. Digging this. All right, I'm going to go find a different place to watch the, let's see, published post. So if I go there. All right. Would ask everyone if you would please, I would love it if you would please share. So if you're on YouTube, please go and share this with folks. If you are on Facebook, share this as well. I would greatly appreciate it. I would love to ramp up the size of the live audience. There's always a great energy when there's more folks in here live. And there we go. Pause that. There we are. Okay. That is looking good. Let me jump over to youtube.com/StripStringAcademy/live. Let's take a look at that. Say hi to everybody in there. All right, I'm going to mute that. Going to be starting here in about 4.5 minutes or so. Today we're going to be talking about how to recover corrupted, and it's hard to say. It's hard to title this because in some cases you can recover a recorded file, like an AVI file or an MOV file or an MP4 or something like that. Sometimes you can recover those, but a lot of times it's what to do when you can't. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Let's see here. All right. And I'm going to be showing you guys a few tools, some things. I'm going to show you guys a few methods for doing this. I'm going to show you how I solved the problem. And let's see here. So I got some dropped frames there. That's interesting. If those increase, if those dropped frames are increasing, I better go make sure that my little one is not on YouTube sucking a bunch of stuff down. And I need to pause Google Drive. There we go. All right, so hope everybody's been having a good week. My week has been pretty busy. And it's been good. It's been a good week. Like I said, been busy, been having a good time. Hi, Tom. How are you doing? Tommy, good old Tommy Willis. Tommy is one of our longtime viewers. Tools? I like tools. I use different size hammers to adjust my computer. You must have an older computer. All right, let's see here. It's a little warm in here. I'm going to get the fan on. There we go. All righty. About 2 minutes. I'm going to go real fast and remind Jillian to get off of the off of Netflix and stuff. So hang on. All right. Here we go. Just under 2 minutes. So, by the way, I want to let you guys know if you have questions during this, you can put them in the chat. And if I will look back and forth to the chat, but I'm also doing a recording because this goes out as a podcast. Did I tell you all that? Yeah, I'm podcasting this now, right? Go to ctapodcast.com and you can subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. I'm slightly behind in the posting of those, but I'm getting them catched up. Ultimately, everything will be dropping everywhere on Tuesdays, which means the new episode of this show will be dropping on Tuesdays on YouTube, on Facebook, and in the podcast. So everything should be coming out on Tuesdays. That's the goal. And then throughout the week, be putting up little things here and there, snippets and stuff like that. So we've got just a moment before we get started. Okay. Looks like it's stabilized. I'm not dropping any more frames, which is good. All right. So about 30 seconds. Everybody, let's see. What's Tommy have to say here? I'm supposed to be at my church installing HDMI to SDI converters for our new monitor system, but it is raining too much. Okay, well, I'm glad that I can be your refuge. That's awesome. All right. We are going to start here in 10 seconds, guys. 10 seconds. Where'd my thing go? Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Hey, guys, and welcome to another action-packed adventure in the wonderful world of church media, live streaming, and everything else that kind of fits into that realm. In case we haven't met, my name is Dave Curley, and if this is your first time here, this is the live show for Church Training Academy. It's called CTA Live, and I am the founder of Church Training Academy. And basically what Church Training Academy does is teaches small and medium-sized churches how to use and exploit the snot out of technology and media. Like all the big churches and stuff, which are like only about like 20% of the churches out there are like the big, huge mega churches, like Lakewood and Harvest and Fellowship and Gateway and all those. That's a small number of them out there, but they're doing great things with media. They're doing great things with broadcast and live streaming and with social media and all that sort of stuff. And I want to teach you guys how to do the same thing. How even a small church with a limited budget can exploit the heck out of this technology and grow their church, and most importantly, change people's lives, because that's what we're all about as Christians, right? We've got the Great Commission that we have to live up to. That's what Jesus told us to do. Go out and make disciples. That's what we're trying to do. So that is what Church Training Academy is here for. Now, today, I am going to be talking to you about fixing a problem, and it's a problem that happens well, sometimes it happens all too frequently, and which is usually a sign that you've got some bad equipment, and sometimes it just happens on a fluke. See if this sounds familiar. You've recorded something. You've recorded a live stream, or you've recorded a video file on your phone or on your camera or something like that, and you've copied it, and you got it ready so that you can start doing your editing, and you find out that it's corrupt. I have, this is horrible, I have been on a professional video shoot before. All set up. I got the lights, got camera, got a backup camera set up. By the way, that's something that if you can afford to do that, it's always good to have like 2 cameras. That way you can have like a complete backup. If all of a sudden smoke starts coming out of your DSLR, you've got a video camera that's that's still catching things. That's a whole nother thing. Kind of like wearing a belt and having suspenders on at the same time. Anyway, got the whole thing shot. It was great. We were done. The people went back to their offices. They got back to work, and I got in there and started doing the editing. And I put the card in, and it's like, I can't read the card. What? Can't read the card. And so I rebooted and did a couple things, and the card finally came up and all that, but the files on there were corrupted. And it was like, we just spent an hour and a half doing this recording, and it took them forever to understand how to do the teleprompter, and they were having problems and stuff. And now I got to do the whole thing again. Gee whiz, So it happens. It's not fun, but it happens. And the problem, or I guess the thing to do, is to try to figure out how you can. You're not going to be able to prevent the problem all the time. If it's happening on a regular basis, obviously you need to throw that card out and get a new card, right? If it's happening like on your laptop or on your desktop system or your live streaming system where you're recording locally to the hard drive, it may be a problem with the hard drive, but more times than not, it isn't. It's actually just a problem with a file that got corrupted. These are all digital files. They're magnetic. If they're on a standard spinning hard drive, they are, ones and zeros stored in a chip if they're not. So they can get corrupted just like anything else can. The thing to do, though, or the way to look at it, is how to work around the problem and still get your job done, still get the production out, still get things done and working, right? So I got a call a couple weeks ago in a panic from one of our viewers, Chris Oshinsky, who is she's a CTA member. She's actually one of our charter members, and is new to all of this. It's actually pretty cool story. I might have Chris come on sometime and just sort of share her story. She reached out of the blue and said, I need to learn how to do this stuff. We want to do it at our church. Will you coach me? So I coached her, got him up and running, and she is learning and learning and learning every step of the way. And she hit one of the snags that happens every now and then. She has a laptop, and they're using the OBS software, which is what I'm using right now to do the live streaming. And what she has, most laptops now have an SD card reader built into them, and so you put these SD cards in so that you can, read files from your camera or what have you. Do you know that these SD cards, if you have one of the ultra super duper ones, they record really, really fast. When you have like a hard drive that has, or a system that has like one hard drive, which means you're running your software off of that hard drive, you may be serving up during a live stream. You may be serving up video files during that. You're making that hard drive pull things back and forth off of there at different times. When you're trying to record to that, now you're asking it to read and write at the same time, access information, and continue a steady stream. So it can do it, but if you have the option to record onto another medium, then you can have like a dedicated recorder that's not doing anything else but recording, while the other hard drive is actually pulling files off and giving things for your stream, etc. So what I've told people to do is, let's think about this for a sec. We have these really nice digital video cameras. We've got our DSLRs and our point and shoot cameras and all that we record video on, and they record to these little things, which tells me that if you're recording 1080p 30 or 60 frames per second video on a camera to this little device, there's no reason why this cannot be the recorder for your live stream. You just got to make sure that the bus, that you plug this into, is fast enough, and make sure you have a fast card. I mean, the ones I use are like the ones that are like 90 megabits a second. They're kind of like right in that sweet spot of speed and price, and they work great for me. Every now and then, there is a problem, though, especially when you do things like eject the disk without even officially ejecting. Like if you're in Windows, you can go to File Manager and right-click on it and choose eject, and then look down at the bottom corner, and it says, digital media is ready to be removed. Or if you're on a Mac, you can do the same thing. If you don't eject it, which means tells the computer, don't write anything to this ever again, before you pull it out, you could corrupt the data that's on there, okay? It happens, especially when you're in a volunteer situation where you have people that are just now coming in, just getting warmed up to what's going on. They may be copying a file, think that it's done, or maybe the file is done, and then say, okay, it's time to go. Boop, they pull the file out and say, here you go, and they hand it to you, and then you find out later that it's corrupted. What does a corrupted file look like? I'll show you. I'm going to juggle my screens here. We have, let me pull this up. All right, let's see, right, there we are. Okay, let me show you this. Here I have one of our services. This actually happened to me from a couple of weeks ago. We have, let's see, I can change that view, can't I? There we are. All right, so you see this file down here? I know this is hard to see. I know this is hard. This little file down here, notice it looks different than the others. And if you're listening to the audio version, basically this file is sitting on the hard drive, however it is grayed out. All the rest of them are nice and black, and the folders are blue and all that. But this one, which is actually my recording of the service, is grayed out. And that tells me that there's something wrong with it. When I try to play this file, so I'm going to select it, and I'm going to hit on my Mac, I'm going to hit the space bar to bring up preview. Let's see, Joy, Philippians 4, output, blah, blah, blah. Nothing is playing. It's not happening. Okay, so something's wrong with this file. Let's try to open it up in QuickTime. So I'm going to try opening it up in QuickTime. Item is being used by macOS and can't be opened. Crud. What? This is all jacked up. Okay, what do I do? How do I fix this? That is the kind of thing that puts a level of panic in you, especially when you're doing mission-critical stuff, like you streamed the service. 10 people were baptized. 9 people came and got saved. It was the pastor's, most amazing service. It was number 10 in a 10-part series where he wraps everything up and everything sort of comes together and everybody's having these aha moments. And I screwed up and the recording doesn't work. So what's next? Well, I'm going to show you a few things that you can do to try to recover this. First off, there is some software out there, and I'm going to say this with a caveat, okay? Generally, what happens, and this could happen if you are copying a file and eject too fast. This can happen if you're copying a file and it just gets screwed up. This can happen if the recording doesn't, the bits get jumbled or whatever. Generally, what happens is some of the header information. I know this is really technical stuff. You can dismiss this part if you want. But basically, you know how we have MP4 files, and we have MOV files, and we have AVI files, and what else do we have? M4V files. We have all these video files that have this extension on the end, MPG, MPEG. Basically, what these are containers, okay? Think of them as buckets, okay? And you can have, let's say I have a 2-quart bucket in front of me, and I've got one that's square, and I've got one that's round, and I've got one that's oval shaped, and I've got one that is really tall, and I've got one that's really wide. The common thing is that they all hold water. They all hold 2 quarts of water, right? The water, in this case, the video, is contained in one of these buckets. And the bucket itself really doesn't matter, just as long as it can hold the files. Now, the type of water that you have in there, you could have water and ice, which is ice water. You could have coffee, which is hot water that's been steeped through leaves. You can have, iced tea, and you could have Coca-Cola. It's all water-based. It's all liquid. It's all video, but it is made up of different things. That is where we get into things like our codecs, okay? Is it an H.264 video? Is it a is it a ProRes 422 video? Is it using the QuickTime animation codec? Is it using the the Motion JPEG codec. You know, that's what we're talking about: water, ice water, hot water, coffee. You see what I'm saying? And it's all contained in a two-quart container, which would be an AVI wrapper, an MP4 wrapper, an MOV wrapper, an MPG wrapper. Do you understand? Now, all that stuff setting aside, the wrapper, the container, has information at the head of the file. It's got information at the back of the file, and sometimes that information gets messed up. Now, if you're an engineer and a software guru and you're brilliant and stuff, you could like edit that file, open it up in a text editor or something like that, change some of that information, save it back out, and then boom, it would work. Or maybe the first, few seconds of it would not work, but the rest of it would. Okay, very few of us are like that. Some guys have written software, and this is people from all these different areas of life. They write it for Windows, they've written it for Mac, they've written some Linux software, do stuff like that. They work for this company, they work for that company that repairs it, okay? Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. Almost all the time, you have to pay for it. The average price is about $40, okay? Almost all the time, this software will let you demo. So you can download a demo version. You can open up your file, and then it'll say, yeah, I can read your file. Now, pay me $40. Or it will open up your file and only let you export a fixed version that is 5 minutes long, or 50% of the file. So if it's an hour-long service, it'll let you do the first 30 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Then you got to drop $40 and do it. Now, you want to do that? That's great. A lot of times I've seen where the files are so corrupt you can't do that, okay? Just here, let me show you. Here's an example. An example of the software. So this one is called Video Repair Software, and it's written by this guy. I don't know who this guy is. Hardware and Software Solutions. He's apparently wonderful and brilliant. Software only lets you do like the first half of it. Their repair utility can fix broken or damaged video files, MOV, MP4, 3GP. That's like recorded on older phones, M4V. That will not play in your media player. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. Now, let's make the assumption that it doesn't work with that. What are some of our options? Okay. First thing that I try to do, and if you guys don't know about this program, if you don't know about this player, it's a media player. A lot of different media players will allow you to play a file. One of the best ones out there is called VLC, and I'm going to show you that. VLC is a media player that is free, stands for Video LAN Client, and it is it's a player that, in my experience, one of the things that is great about VLC, the way they wrote it, the way they've written the software, is that when you put a video file in there, if your system does not know how to currently decode that file, then it will go out to the internet and find the decoding routine that it needs, download it, install it in the player, and now it can. That's really cool. It basically says, I see the kind of file this is. I can't do anything with it, so I'm going to go grab the tool that I need. I'm going to pull it in, and boop, there you go. Now you can watch your video. That's how you can, if it doesn't play anywhere else, generally speaking, rule of thumb, it will play in VLC, which is really cool. Out and in the notes for this over at, this is episode 9, over at Church Training Academy /009, I'm going to have the link to VLC and some of these other tools for you. So VLC, I'm going to grab an exported file, and I will drop that in there so that you can see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is our file. This is a good file that works. You see, it's playing just fine in VLC. Everything's wonderful. which is great. That's exactly what we're wanting to happen. Now, over here, I have a damaged file. I'm going to take this damaged file, and I'm going to drop it in, and let's see if VLC will be able to play it. No, can't recognize the input format. Great. My file's damaged. What am I going to do? Okay. There's a couple of different things that you can do. Depending on what type of system you are doing your live streaming from, some of them will actually make a recording of the file that they are using to send up to the streaming service. Okay? Perfect example. On my TriCaster, I have the TriCaster uses I want to say it's still using Flash Media Encoder for some of the streaming. So what it does is it actually makes a file that is an F4V file, okay, of the stream. The caveat of that is that the quality level of the file is only as good as the bit rate that I am sending out. So if I'm sending out a 2 megabit stream, then that recorded version that the Flash Media Encoder records, a flash version of the video, is only going to be 2 megabits. So it's not going to be any better than what the stream looked like, okay? However, what it gives me is a file that I can do something with, or hopefully I can do something with. Now the problem with it, and I'll show you this file. I've got one over here. That was the first thing when I had the problem. That was the very first thing I did, was went up to the church and I found the Flash video file for this, and this is how it names it. This, and it shows you it's only 972 megabytes in size, whereas the file that I recorded, the actual MP4 file, is 3.21 gigabytes. Okay, so this is like an 8 or a 9 megabit quality level, whereas the other one is like 1900, so 1.9 megabits, something like that. Okay, but it is a file that contains video and audio information, and that's what I want to try to do something with. Now, the problem with that format is hardly anything reads it. Okay, so I'm going to drop it into VLC, and I'm going to play it. Oh, look! VLC plays it. That is fantastic. It's all there. There's Jared. It's all there. There's the video at the end. There's the offertory thing. There's everybody hugging and kissing. Yay! It works. Now what do I do? That's a great question. VLC allows you to transcode. What is transcoding? It allows you to play it out and then record it into another format. Okay? VLC is really cool about doing that. So we try that. Okay? Let's see if we can use VLC to basically convert this funky file that actually plays into an MP4 or an MOV file that I can then edit and get published. So how do you do that? Open up VLC, and you go to the File, Streaming Export Wizard, Convert Stream. Let's try Convert Stream. And now it brings up this little dialog, and it says Open up the media. So you can browse to where your file is. And in my case, I have it on, where did it go? On this drive. And there it is. There is that F4V, that flash video file. And what do I want to do? I want to make it into an H.264 file. Do I want to make it into an MP3 file? An MPEG-2? What? Okay, I'm just going to do that one and save file as, and then I browse, and I'm going to give it a name. Test conversion. Now, this is like an hour-and-a-half file, so I'm actually not going to go through it, but I'll show you. And then save. Now, I know it's hard to see, but right down here, I can see the counter going. I'm at 20 seconds, 21, 22, 24. Okay, so it is going through, and transcoding this file for me. So my first thought is, Eureka! It works! I'm going to stop this because it's really eating up my processor here. Okay. So I'm sitting here thinking, yay, this works. When I took a look at the file that it gave me this M4V file. Again, I know it's hard to see. This is an M4V file, which is, a standard MPEG-4 movie. It's in the M4V, which is, like a QuickTime type of a wrapper. Works on your iPods, iPads, things like that. So let's play. All right, it's not playing. So for whatever reason, that was corrupt as well. What's my solution? What can I do? It hit me. I have a YouTube channel. So what I did, I'm going to take you over to YouTube. What I did, I took a gamble. I said, I wonder if I took this F4V file and if I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, would that work? Would it read a flash file? Can you do that? I have seen on some like old YouTube videos that people have uploaded, Windows media files. Remember those, WMV? So Windows media files have been uploaded. I've seen FLV, which is a flash video file. So surely this one will work. Let's try it. So I jump over into YouTube and I upload my file. Let me go to my video manager. And I hit the little upload button there, and I uploaded the file. And it took a while, just like it's taking a while for this to load. Bear with. Boy, when Chrome decides to lock up on you during a live show, doesn't get any better than that. Okay, there we go. It's finally... Let's see. I'm going to kill that. Live TV, folks. There we are. Okay, it did. All right, so what I did was I uploaded the file. And here it is right here. It is that raw Take 9 file. It is HD because we were streaming at 1280 by 720. And it worked. So if I click on it, it should play just fine. Yep, it plays just fine. Hallelujah. So, because I am an administrator on this page, because it's my page, I am able to download the file. How do you download a file from your video manager? Very easy. You find the file that you need. And in this case, by the way, when I uploaded it, I made it private. There's no need for it to be published because I still need to edit it and clean up the audio and do a couple of things like that. So there's no need for it to ever be published. This is just a temporary step. This is just a holding place, a way to convert the file. Click on the little download, the little button there next to the edit button in your video manager. And you should be able to stinking download it. Where did that go? Where the heck did they put that? Really? Yeah, download MP4 right there, right? Okay, so. Okay, so this one, for some reason, is not, and I'm not sure why, it's not actually allowing me to do it. It did the first time. What I'm looking for, folks, by the way, is this. When you click on it, you can choose Download MP4. Now, because it is a, I know, it's because it's a streaming file, so you actually have to go a different way around. Okay, so let me explain to you what just happened. Okay, when you upload an MP4 file, when you upload a file to YouTube, you can then turn around and download that original file, okay? In this case, this is a funky file format. It did take it, but it doesn't allow you to download an MP4 file of it. So what you have to do is use a YouTube video downloader. Now, I do have one, and I'm going to bring it up. These are like extensions for Chrome and for Firefox and for your other, Safari, other browsers like that. And what they do is basically they find the original file, or they find one of the conversion versions that YouTube makes. So when it takes your file, it actually makes several different versions, a high quality, low quality, medium quality, etc. It basically finds where those are and gives those to you as an option to download. So I'll show you. I'm going to bring up, okay, I'm going to bring up the file, and let's see here. I'm going to get the link, and then I'm going to bring up Firefox. And I'm going to, because the one I have works in Firefox, it does not work in Chrome. There we go. And I'm going to paste it in here. It should take us right to the video. Okay, so there's the video. Now, okay. Dang it. None of this is working for me, and I'll tell you why. This is really frustrating. Live TV. Generally what happens is with the, and I probably have to update it now because YouTube just made a bunch of changes. And that, guys, that's part of the problem with using a there we go. That's part of the problem with using these extensions is that when YouTube makes changes, these extensions have to be updated. So the extension I have, YouTube just rolled out a new format. They've made some changes. They got a new logo. So this extension now has to be uploaded. I'm going to update it. I'm going to put links to the files, to the extensions that I use to do this, and you'll be able to grab those and add them into your things. They let you basically download the video files. And what happens is, and in the edited version of this, I'll show you you should be able to see what the clip looks like. But for those of you watching and listening live, what it does basically is down here at the bottom, right around here, or maybe right around here, and somewhere in this area, it puts a little drop-down box. That drop-down box gives you the option to download an MP4 or download an MP3. It may give you the option of a couple of sizes, like a 360p, which is it's like 640 by 360 standard def. It may give you the option to download a 720 version. That is what you will download, and that is what you will use to fix the problem. That is what you will now edit from. Okay, that is your ace in the hole as far as what do I do with this corrupt file? Okay. Now, if you're streaming to YouTube, then you can do this. Okay. If you're streaming to Facebook, you can also grab your file. The way things are going today, I probably won't be able to show you, frustratingly enough, but we'll take a look. Let me go over to Facebook, and I'm going to go and grab a file. If you are the manager or an administrator, right, an admin, have access to the page like for your church's website, then you can do this. You can actually download the live stream files directly, or any video that you've posted. You can actually download it to your hard drive and then use that as a source to republish from. That's what you would then edit and clean up and get put into the podcast, etc. So let me show you that. All right, here we are on the CTA page, and we will go up here to Publishing Tools. Just like if we were going to go and start a live stream. Oh, I am totally on the wrong screen. Hang on a second. I'm going to redo that. Where'd it go? There we are. Sorry, threw up the wrong screen. All right, so here we are on the CTA Facebook page. We've clicked on Publishing Tools. This takes us to where our stuff is, right? So if you hit on the Videos item here in the left-hand menu, and you find your video, see, look, there's our video, right? There it is playing. Let's see, is it going to play? There you go. All right. So there's our video. Okay. If you click on the Edit Video item here, I don't want to do this one because it's a live stream. Let's see, we'll just do this one. So if we click on Edit Video, it's going to bring it up. And then you have the option to download the SD version, the standard def version, okay? That's the version that you have access to. You don't have access to the full 720p version, okay? But click the little gear right here, and you can click Download SD version. And then what it's going to do is it's going to bring up, a dialog, the file save as type dialog, okay? Now, you see, it's got some really long, huge name that doesn't mean anything. So you can go ahead and name it what you want and then save it, okay? Now, let's say you're not an admin on the page. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we don't have access to it. We're the people that are supposed to edit it, but we don't have access to the Facebook page to actually post things and all that. That's okay. You can actually, there's a little hack. You can actually get access to the mobile version of the video and save that one. And I'll show you how to do that. Let's go. I'm just going to go pick something that is out there. Let me find a video. We'll do this live. Okay. So let's see. He was live. All right. So Leslie was live. Okay. So if you click on his file, any given file, I'm going to turn his audio down. There we go. If you click on it, right-click on it, and choose Show Video URL, there is the URL to the actual video file. Okay? So if you select it, copy it, you can close that, come back over to a new tab, and you're going to paste it in. But what you're going to do is instead of having this www in front of it, you're going to change that to m. So m.facebook.com, as in mobile.facebook.com. And it is going to bring up what you would see on your phone. And it's going to be ugly because it's looking huge right here. See, it's taking up the whole screen. Why? Because it does that on your phone, right? So here is Leslie. And now what you can do is right-click on it, save video as. You now have that really long file name. You can change it to whatever you need to do and save it. You are downloading, again, a standard def version of it, but standard def is better than no def. Okay? These are workarounds for, holy cow, my original recording is damaged and I can't publish anything now. Ways around it. I have used this. I do a show that goes out on television and on Facebook Live and over the radio and like a radio app and stuff. There have been times when we start the show, I got the stream going, but I forgot to hit record. This show has 4 blocks in it, A, B, C, and D block. We got commercials in between. So what I do is I record the first block, and then I hit stop during the commercials, then I hit record and do the next block, and then I hit stop. So I end up with 4 video files, right? By the way, in my case, since those are 4 blocks of the show, it makes sense for me to stop and start so that if one of them gets corrupted, the whole thing doesn't get corrupted, right? So instead of having an hour or a 2-hour recording that could possibly get corrupted, I only have 1 block that has been corrupted, okay? Just kind of, again, belt and suspenders, trying to be extra super careful. Anyway, sometimes I forget to hit the record again. Usually I do it, stop, start, and it works. Sometimes it's like I stop it, and then a guest comes in, and I got to get the guest mic'd up, and I can't get, then I get back over there, and it's like, guys, we got 30 seconds. Let's go. I start rolling the music, doing all this, and I forgot to hit record. And then we get the first minute in, and I look, and I go, crap, I'm not recording, so I hit the record button. So now that segment is supposed to be 13 minutes, and now it's, 11 minutes and, 15 seconds or whatever, because I have a minute and 45 seconds that I forgot to record. So how do I fix the problem? I go over to Facebook, to the live stream, and I download that source file, that standard def file. It ain't pretty. It's not horrible either, because we're streaming at 2 megabits or something. So I can enlarge it, maybe sharpen it, do a little bit here and there, and make it blend in as best I can with the original footage. And then, of course, only do that first minute and a half or whatever of that, and then the rest of it is the official proper recording. So the minute and a half or whatever is not pristine, whereas the other one is. Does that make sense? In your cases, if you're podcasting this, if you're uploading it to YouTube, and this is your only resort, then do this. It is much more important that we get the content out there, that we get the show done and published so that people can partake of it. If you're only audio podcasting, there you go. You don't have to worry about the video issue. Just grab the audio out of that and then, save it, clean it up, do whatever you need to do, and publish it. But if you're following the workflow that I'm teaching you guys, you do want to video podcast it. You want to have the full service so that the folks that want the entire worship experience on their phone while they're commuting, great. The ones that want to use it as a Bible study tool, only the sermon. So you want to have, you basically have 4 podcasts, right? You can have audio and video of each, the full version and the sermon-only version, right? So when you upload that to YouTube, because you want to flesh out your YouTube channel and you're making playlists for each series that your pastor is doing, one of them is not going to be as pristine as the others. That's okay, okay? It's better that it's there and not perfect than it not being there and the people miss out on the next lesson, right? Or the next Bible study, the next service. Now, when you're podcasting it, if you're doing your podcast at, say, the version that you're uploading to for people to watch on their phones and download with iTunes and stuff, for the video, if you're doing that at 720p, then you're taking a standard def, which is 480p, which is 853 by 480. It's a weird ratio, but that's the standard widescreen definition, and you're upscaling it to 1280 by you're upscaling it by a good 60%, right? So you can do things like I said. You can do some a little bit of sharpening. Don't overdo it. You can maybe pull the saturation level down a little bit so that there's less color video noise in there. Certain plugins for the editors that you're using, if you're using Final Cut or Premiere, I've got one called what is it called? Instant 4K, and it's from Red Giant. Red Giant's the name of the company, and what it is designed to do is to take footage from one resolution and scale it and sharpen it and like do a whole bunch of math on it and stuff so that it can be another resolution and look virtually indistinguishable from the native resolution, right? So I do things like take that standard def file and then use that plugin to make it to a 1280 by 720, and then I apply the sharpening and I increase the quality level up all the way and all, so that it doesn't necessarily, ideally, lose visual acuity. Is that the word? Maybe, I don't know. Visual acuity. That is a pretty cool word. I'm going to use that wrongly, I'm sure, for that resolution. Okay. Another thing you can do if you don't have success scaling that up and cleaning it up and making it look good is just publish that one at the lower resolution. Might as well publish it at the lower resolution. When you're exporting it, give it as much, increase the bit rate for that recording as much as you can. If you normally, for your iPods, for your podcast versions, are doing like, say, 1280 by 720 and maybe doing 2 megabits for it so that you end up with a, 1.5 gig file maybe for an hour. Maybe keep that same bit rate, 2 megabits, but you're going to be doing, say, a standard def, 853 by 480, 853 by 480. So you're, instead of it being like this at 2 megabits, it's going to be like this at 2 megabits. It's the same thing when you take like a JPEG file and you shrink it down. You know, it looks good at that small level because all that information is being compressed into a smaller level, so the detail is a whole lot smaller and everything. Same kind of thing with the video. So you can try lowering it down like that at that, in this case it would be the native resolution, but try to give as much bit rate to it that you can without just blowing the file size. You don't want someone, you know, hey, here's a 4 gig file for you to stream down to your phone for, you know, a 45-minute sermon. You don't want to do that. But those are some things that you can play with. And of course, as we open up the membership portal, I have tutorials and stuff that are like teaching you guys all that, and, you know, do this, but don't do this, and try this, and adjust this setting and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope this has been a help to you guys. This is kind of a thank you, number one, to Chris for asking the question, and we did get her squared away, got things situated for her, which was great. But this is kind of the process that I go through in my head when I am faced with these problems. And guys, I come across stuff like this all the time. I mean, corrupt files, something doesn't work. How do you, so much problem solving is trying to find a workaround. I mean, I'm not kidding. I have, in the case of this, there was one time where, what was it? It was on that show. It was on Mark's show, where I had probably 4 minutes of not recording, right? And what am I going to do? I decided, instead of trying to download that file, maybe I could get a little bit better quality if I streamed it and then used like some frame or some screen capture software. Okay, so I use ScreenFlow to do this. Like on my tutorials and stuff, when you see a screen, you're not seeing it through OBS like this, and I zoom up to it and stuff. You're actually seeing it using ScreenFlow, which actually records my screen, treats my screen here as a camera. So, I've done that. It's a workaround, right? I'm trying to capture the information for the 5 minutes that I jacked up and try to get it into the thing. So let's try streaming it and doing, selecting that area of the screen, and let's record it with my screen capture software and see if it works. So it worked in my case. That's great. Things like that. Our whole goal is to get the project done, to get things published, to move on for the next week. If we got to fix our problems, we got to fix our problems. Generally speaking, they're one of these ways, especially if you're streaming, right? So if you're streaming, you do have that recorded version, that streamed version out there. Make use of it if you have to, if the original recording is messed up. If you're using another streaming service like Sunday Streams or Livestream or some of these others, Boxcast, depending on the level of service you have with them, depending on how much you're paying each month, you may have access to the archives. A lot of these things will archive them. I know we use Sunday Streams, so Sunday Streams keeps a rolling archive. They're not the best quality, okay, because it is a recording of what I'm sending up there. If I'm sending 2 megabits up there, it is a recording of 2 megabits. It's not like 50 megabits that I would be recording on the camera, but it's still there. So download that, edit it, trim it, get it published, Anyway, I've said enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. If by some chance you guys are not live streaming and you want to live stream, you want to learn how to live stream, then you can go to easylivestreaming.com, and I've got a free resource there for you, a free guide. It's called Live Streaming for Churches the Easy Way, and it gives you an idea of what you can do, gives you some tools that you can do, and it actually explains the 4 levels of live streaming, the 4 modes of live streaming that basically all of us have access to at one level or another. That's what is it? It's selfie mode, indie mode, desktop mode, which is what I'm doing right now, and then broadcaster mode, which is what I do like at our church using our TriCaster. So it shows you those, and it shows you ways and gives you ideas about how you can add live streaming to your ministry now, today, like when we're done here. Like grab your phone and start a live stream. It shows you how to do that, gives you those ideas and ways that you can incorporate live streaming into your ministry starting today. So go download that. It's free, and I hope it opens your eyes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you need any help, if you need some consulting, if there's anything that I can help you with, then please reach out to me, dave@churchtrainingacademy.com. Thank you guys for watching, and go out there and change some lives. Okay, that's the official recording version of the show here, folks. So I'm going to go check the, let's see here. There we go. I'm going to go check the live stream and see if you guys have any questions or anything, if there's anything I can help y'all with. I'm sorry that it was kind of jacked up. Some of the settings and stuff changed on me. Let's see. Published posts. Bear with me. I'm getting in there. Had to close it earlier. And here we go. So does anybody have any questions or anything? If you do have questions, please post them in here. I would love to help you guys out as best I can. So I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. And if you don't, then that is fine too. I'm going to jump over to our folks and our friends over at YouTube and see if anybody has anything. Jordan has a really good point. You need to record on multiple devices. Yes, that is definitely an idea and an option. If you have the ability to record on multiple devices, you definitely do want to do that. Okay, a lot of folks that are starting out with live streaming are using limited budgets and limited equipment. So if you have your hard drive your laptop, because that's what most people have access to. We can do it on a laptop, so let's get started. If you're doing that, then you don't necessarily have multiple devices. I need to mute that. Sorry about that, guys. You don't have you got limited resources in the unit, so you can't necessarily, have two versions of the recording on your thing. You actually, like if you're using OBS or one of the other software things, like vMix can do ISO recording, and I believe Wirecast can as well, but you're going to have another hard drive, another device to do that. And you're going to need to have a machine that can simultaneously handle that. So if you're doing it on a laptop and you hook up a USB hard drive to it, and then you also have like your SD card that you're both recording to, that might work. But if you try to have like 3 USB hard drives connected to it and try to record all 3 at the same time, you may start bogging down. Whereas if you have like a desktop system and you've got like multiple hard drives in the unit itself, those are all going into a different bus, and so you can record across those much more successfully than maybe using USB devices or maybe using a combination of those. So try it, play with it, but your software needs to be able to the broadcast software needs to be able to handle that as well. The TriCaster has that built in. Called ISO recording, isolated recording, where you can record just coming off of camera 1, you can record just coming off of camera 2, and you can record the program stream, or you can record an MP4 of the program stream and an MOV on another hard drive, so it can have 2 recordings. You can do stuff like that. I know vMix lets you do that, but again, be sure that your hardware is going to be able to handle doing that. So you want to test, practice, practice. Anyway, does anybody else have any questions? If you don't, then I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Don't be strangers. Reach out. Follow me on Facebook. Get in there. Talk. Those of you that have early access to the Church Training Academy CTA Insiders group, get in there. Ask some questions. Help each other out. And love you all. Have a great, wonderful weekend. And for those of you in Houston, stay as dry as you can.